Mr. 411.
Oh yeah, that's dedication. That is dedication. You know, Philly Red Zone stays on the move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Believe it or not,
yeah.
he
I'm
stays
just
on the
sitting in the
move,
car
man.
today. The other day I was moving around. I had to get pizza and all that stuff, man. I was all over while we was talking.
I got
Yeah,
you.
you did a great job, man. But you know, you
Yeah.
should do like the old '80s shows where they have the scenes where you're sitting in the car and the
Uh-huh.
car's not moving, but everything else is moving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The side moving, the back. Yeah.
Yeah,
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 yeah, definitely, definitely.
yeah, yeah. You should do that. Like you watching WKRP in Cincinnati or
Okay.
something. You know?
Oh man, you digging in the
Yeah.
crates, cuz.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Oh,
we're
Oh man.
live. We're live, man. We're live in effect. We're back.
All right.
April 30th, 2024. The draft, man, the NFL draft review here on the 401 Sports World Network, Sports Brothas show. You can see the calculators above me and also Philly Red Zone in the car moving around, if you will.
greetings and
All right.
salutations, everyone.
Hello,
Yes,
hello,
yes.
hello.
Yeah, so we're gonna chop it up. We're just gonna review the draft. You know, we're gonna have to definitely make a couple pit stops like in Atlanta. We gotta make a pit stop there. We gotta make a pit
Oof.
stop in New Orleans,
Oh, yeah.
Seattle, Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yep, and we're gonna make a stop in Pittsburgh too, because Kofi the Low gonna join us at some point today. But yeah, so it's gonna be fun, man. Let's get to it. All right, we are here. Hey, we are on the simulcast as well, everyone. So we're on Surge TV as well. So man, can't gotta give Surge TV they props for picking us up. And so we're all in the Northeast on on the social media and on the network there, Surge TV. We appreciate them. TikTok, Mr. 411. Here's your chance to click on that QR code, or you can just go to TikTok and type in Mr. 411 as you see it right there above the QR code. Same thing for Instagram. Do the same thing there, Mr. 411, or use the QR code. The draft, gentlemen.
Yes.
Just your initial thoughts of NFL draft. We'll dive into the actual draft, but just your initial thoughts of like, what do you all like about the draft? And, just what makes it fun for you. And we'll start with Philly Red Zone.
Man, I like the uncertainty. I mean, once you get past the first 3 to 4 picks in the draft, I mean, it's a wild card from 5 through, 32. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, and then two, I mean, you know, I I follow college football, so it's cool to see some of the the kids that you've been watching from whether they were freshmen, sophomore, when they first get the opportunity to step on the field, excuse me, to when they're juniors and seniors and they can declare for the NFL draft and just seeing where they project and whether it's first round, second round, third round, fourth, fifth, seventh, UDFA's, and then you follow them through their pro career and the higher picks, some of those guys don't pan out to the lower picks that was in the sixth, seventh round and they become all pros. And you just, you bragging like, I watched this kid, and just seeing where they, projected. One of the I'll stand on this back in the day when Marquise Colston out of Hofstra was coming out. And I was like, man, that kid is good. I saw him at the East West Shrine game, watching it on TV. And for that young man to, take his career where he was and play in New Orleans, won the Super Bowl, and was one of the best receivers in the league.
Oh,
So
and yeah, that was also that particular person was a fantasy football marvel
yeah,
because when he came
Oh
out,
yeah.
but me and Mr. 41, he was tight end eligible. So,
Hmm.
people drafted him, put him in that tight end spot, yet he's producing as a number one receiver. And then eventually, they removed it from his name. But those first couple of years, he was golden. And
Yeah,
it's like, he was a tight end in college, but as you said, he just, he had a great coach to coach him up in Sean Payton. And then Drew Brees was the perfect type of guy that can throw it, an accurate passer to get it to a big bodied receiver. So
yeah,
perfect storm for Colston.
yeah, man. So that's why I like the draft, and I'm entertained every year watching it. Just the uncertainties, man. I enjoy it. It's kind of like that time of the year. I don't never really sit in front of the TV too much, but during the draft, I you know
Well, yeah,
I do it.
uncertainty is the key word. 2 years
Yeah,
ago, you had all these trades going on. Last year, no trades, and really no trades in the first, no big trades in the first round like we were
yeah,
predicting. That all happened in the second round. But yeah, that it always kept you on the edge of the seat, especially if you're following the team. You
hmm
got a guy in mind, and if he goes off the board, then you start going down the list. Oh man, what else? What is next? What is next? So and then you're constantly waiting. Oh, but if this team but behind you can jump ahead of you, you're hoping that don't happen. I'm telling you, it's like it's chess with general managers is what it is.
yeah,
Coaches and general managers,
exactly.
they're playing chess with each other. And a comment, my sister, I was at my sister's house with my dad. We were, he was in town, so we were watching it. The first time we were able to watch draft with him forever. But yeah, so we were watching at my sister's house, and it was like the fifth pick, and they showed the Chargers war room, and there's like 50 people there. And my sister said, "Do they really need that many people to do it?" I said, you got put it this way. I said, you almost got a person that follows every single team to know every single need, so that they can then talk to somebody else to see, what they're going to do, not only with the draft, but what they're going to do later on in the draft if somebody comes off their board. I said, so, it's not just a one person team. That's why it does take that many people to run a
Yeah,
draft. So that's the question. There's so many things and so many, and they say, it's like that chess term. There's so many blocks and there's so many pieces, but there's almost like a billion different moves that could happen based on what is happening at that single moment of what happens after that. So yeah, that and uncertainty is definitely, that's why you're glued to the seat, because you don't know what's going to happen. So
yeah.
yeah,
And then two, the icing on the cake is we all fantasy football players, so I'm
yeah,
already scouting. I'm
yeah,
build. I'm look. I'm mentally
You already
building my
scouting.
roster.
yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
all right, this guy got drafted. This is quarterback. Their line is this. So I'm already like, you got your top 10, top tier players that that's gonna, you draft in the first round. But once you get past the first round in our fantasy drafts, I mean, it's a wild
Yeah.
card.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, so
Yep.
so yeah, it's fun though, man. I really enjoy it every year.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely, definitely. Cause a lot of these picks, just like some of these old linemen or that get picked, that affects the quarterback play or which has a fantasy impact. So yeah, it's fun, man. I just like the fact that with the draft, it just brings hope, right? It brings new
Yeah.
hope to a team, you
Optimism.
know, yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I like about it, and just being able to look back at it, and see, okay, in this year, this quarterback class. Let me compare it to a quarterback class of the past, or things like that. So be interesting to see.
Hmm.
So with that said, gentlemen, we'll go ahead and get started. Um, Obviously, let's go with the number one pick.
Yeah.
And by the way, check us out on YouTube. As you can see there, 411 Sports World Network. If you type that in YouTube, you will find us. So thank you very much in advance for doing that. All right, the Bears, Chicago Bears. They selected Caleb Williams. Uh,
Hmm.
wasn't a surprise. They also drafted wide receiver Roll Odunze. Is that
Yeah,
correct,
Dunes.
gentlemen?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. All right. So we'll start with the main pick, which is Caleb, and we'll go from there. But you know, not a surprise here, gentlemen. So initial thoughts there.
Well, my initial thoughts is with this particular pick, this wasn't your typical number one overall pick going to a bad team. Normally, the number one pick, is a pretty bad team that has to draft, a lot of times a quarterback, because quarterback is the most important position in play. But the Bears, courtesy of trading that number 1 pick last year with a team that, even though they drafted a quarterback, was still really bad, gave them the number 1 pick this year. And they said, oh, this quarterback is a generational talent. We're not going to trade it. We're going to sit on this pick and draft Caleb Williams. Well, see, and we'll just rewind to last year. Why did they pass on number 1 pick? They knew, I'm telling you, the Bears knew this was a better quarterback class this year than last year. You could say, yeah, CJ Stroud and stuff, but yeah, he succeeded. But overall, so the Bears said, we have a better chance to get the top tier quarterback this year than from last year. And we're going to see what Justin Fields can do for another year with a stud wide receiver in DJ Moore, and just see how it works out. Justin Fields was given the keys, and I'm telling you, folks, not a bad season, but they want more of a ceiling for what they do. So what we're going to do is we're going to give Caleb Williams, and that's why before they even pick Caleb Williams, what they do, they go and got another wide receiver from San Diego, when Keenan Allen, and heck, and one of the things I was talking about Windy City with, he was so scared when the Penix pick went in, because he thought that the Bears might get cute and try to go defense. And he said, no, you got to stick to your draft board. You got to give Caleb Williams another young weapon. So that's why that's why Windy City was thrilled when they stuck to the draft board and picked the dudes. They didn't get one of those top defenders on there, because he said, hey, their defense is already set. Just give Williams even more. So now Williams, he has even more weapons than Fields had, know. So I mean, again, 2 great tackles, 3 deep in the receiver room. You still got good tight end play, good running back system, a top 5 defense to not have, you're not going to get behind in a lot of games, so that you don't have to, keep, throwing the ball. You can play within the system. So yeah, Bears did it right. And I think that's why, even though Caleb Williams, if people watched him, he's a different cat than a lot of people, if people get what I'm saying. However, as far as the situation goes, I think he's one of the best situations of any team that got drafted in that top, the top, first round quarterbacks.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, the Bears they're gonna make some noise in that NFC North. I mean, they were already making noise late. They just as a team, they lost a lot of games late. A lot of mistakes, last year.
And a lot of those mistakes was Fields' mistakes, the
exactly. Interception, fumble, taking unnecessary sacks on, third and short, creating, it was just a mess. So, and then, I mean, they're going to get healthy on that offensive line. So they're going to make some noise. I mean, as a fan of an NFC team, definitely piqued my interest, to watch them. And I mean, they had a solid draft overall. I mean, Caleb, he can spin the ball, like you said, Mr. Calculator. Yeah, he is a different cat. I would like to see how he's going to adapt in the NFL locker room, and because it's all fun and games when you win it. That's everybody happy, pat you on the helmet, and they'll deal with your quirkiness. But when you're losing, and those mortgage payments, on them big houses, people start getting worried. It's time to lock in, kid.
Perfect example. We saw how Peyton Manning handled losing, and we saw how Ryan Leaf handled losing.
Oh yeah,
two totally different situations. Exactly. So yeah, that is the key: how a guy can handle when they're losing.
Yeah, and he had a little practice. He had a little practice this season, right? With USC, when they were falling short of some games. For a stretch. So that's just a little tease, but this is the NFL, and hopefully it doesn't stand for not for long for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. So yeah, good job there. Receiving, you good with the receiver as well, right?
Oh yeah. Roma Duzier was, I mean, one of the best receivers in his class. I mean, The guy is a route running technicians. He got soft hands. He can high point the ball. I mean, he's a big guy. He's what, about 6'2",
Yeah.
215, 217.
Yeah.
So he's not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get bullied at the line. I mean, he runs about a sub 4.4. I mean, so
Ooh,
on straight line speed, he can run right by you. He knows how to read the zone. Playing over in that Pac-12, there's a lot of zone defense over there, so he know how to find the little pockets in the defense,
Hmm.
sit down, protect the ball, and then he's shifty enough to get around the defender and get extra yardage. So I'm a fan. I mean, personally, between Rome, Marvin Harrison, and Neighbors, I
yeah,
mean, all of those guys, I would like people want to say 1, 2, and 3. I say 1A, 1B, and 1C.
Yeah, they
All
were. They
those
were.
guys are
Yeah,
solid.
that was the tier break, and that's why Windy City was very happy because there wasn't another receiver later in the draft you could be thinking about that were on the level of those three. So that's why,
Yeah,
hey, get it before the tier breaks.
exactly.
yeah. You mentioned DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Now
Oh
you're
man,
adding this young man to go along with it. I'm telling you, man, that is dangerous. And then don't forget Komet at tight end.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then
Yeah,
Swift at running back with
and with a
Roscoe Johnson from Texas, your
oh yeah,
yeah,
bruiser,
yeah,
yeah. This is
and they still
crazy.
got Khalil Herbert. Like,
yeah.
oof.
Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be interesting. Detroit and Chicago is gonna be some fun games to watch.
Yeah,
Green Bay as well.
Green Bay,
yep.
Man, they may have to come up with a Super Bowl shuffle there in Chicago. We'll see.
yeah,
Next year.
Yeah. All
yeah,
right. So let's go to Dr. Sack's team, the Commanders. It looks like he
Yeah,
was wanting Drake May, but they get Daniels out of
yeah.
LSU. So man, was this the right pick?
I think so. I mean, his pocket presence, his mobility is going to help the Commanders team. I mean, as an Eagle fan, it's tough for me to say that, but I'm gonna call it like it is. I mean, he got McLaurin sit on the outside, and then he got Dobson, the other receiver,
correct. From Penn
on the other
State.
side.
Yeah,
So yeah, out of Penn State. Yeah. So he got two good receivers. The offensive line is a little shaky. So if the pocket break down, he do have enough mobility to get out on the edges and make a defense pay with his legs and his arm, because he got some solid accuracy. When he throws the ball
Yeah.
on the move. I think from the pocket is kind of shaky. He'll have to work on his touch. But when he's on the move, I mean, he can throw darts. I mean, he did that at LSU. I didn't see him so much when he was with Arizona State, but at LSU he was spinning the ball pretty well. And then I mean, he slighted build. It was one comment he made before the draft talking about he wanted to beat Vic and I forgot who else rushing record as a quarterback. I'm like, don't play those games. Not in NFL, buddy.
yeah,
You're 100, you're 185 pounds wet. Don't do a
yeah.
RG3.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
that's what happened to RG3.
yeah,
Anybody that remembers RG3 fans when he got lit up in that game against the Falcons, that was almost the beginning of the end. He
yeah,
really I mean, granted he didn't get hurt on that play, but it really put some cobwebs in, and then of course the injury and the playoff
yeah. The
game
whole lot,
later.
the
But yeah,
infamous
but
Holati Nada play.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's yeah. But the good thing about Daniels from the Washington perspective is Philly Red Zone said it best. The offensive line is shaky, so they needed a guy that could escape the pocket, keep the play going. Drake May, great upside, great arm, but not quite as quick as Jaden
No,
Daniels. And the good thing about Daniels, his completion percentage all through college increased year after
yeah,
year, and I think him having Brian Kelly as his head coach is kind of like put him over the top because Brian Kelly can coach up some quarterbacks. So I think that's what helped his draft profile. But think about it, only player in FBS history to pass for 12,000 yards and rush for 3,000 yards. Those
yeah,
are eye popping stats. So you got to give some credence to that.
yeah,
But we're just going to see how it goes though, how that offensive line can hold up. Even because even though you're fast and can move, he's going to be going up against people remember the SEC title game when 2 years ago with Georgia. Carter picked him up, didn't slam him down, but he kind of had to leave that SEC game a little early because he was getting rattled back there. So yeah. It's going to depend on that offensive line to see how he can succeed.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we will definitely see how all that goes. But man, they got a top tier quarterback. So we'll see what happens there. And it seemed like that was their guy.
yeah.
Even though Dr. Sachs, wanted Drake May. And speaking of Drake May, there's a team, Bo Belichick, ends up landing his quarterback. Is this the quarterback of the future?
It's a possibility. I mean, Drake May, he can spin the ball. I mean, when he dropped back, his back foot hit the turf. If he lets it go and in the proper time, I mean, he can get the ball to the receiver all over the field. He can hit every spot, with his arm. But it's just him staying on course for the
Yeah.
for
Oh, my
the
bad.
for
It's
the
the wrong
offensive
Drake.
play.
Wrong Drake.
You know, that's funny.
There you go.
So
There he is. Oh, there's
yeah,
Drake,
there you
man.
go,
Yeah.
there you go. But yeah, no, I mean, the the Patriots offensive line is it's okay. I mean, it's a lot of age on there. So I know they like their interior offensive linemen are pretty seasoned. So some of those guys may be, you know, what I mean, getting long in the tooth in a sense. So he might have a little pressure in his face. So he got to deal with that. I know he struggled with that when he was with North Carolina.
Yeah.
So outside of that, I mean, he got a defensive minded head coach, and you know what defensive minded head coaches, they want to run the ball first and pass later. So that's going to help him because they'll have that run first. And he got one of the best running backs in the league, Ramondre Stevens, coming out the backfield. So so that'll definitely help his game. They're going to have to run a lot of play action to keep the defense honest, so they just don't pin their ears back because he's more quick than fast. He can try to get around the defender, but he's a little tick faster than Jones. So he can make a negative play into a positive as slight possibility, but yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be have a solid career up in New England. They just got to get him some more weapons and just build around him.
Yeah, and I think best case scenario for him though is that that the Patriots will start Jacoby Brissett early on in the season. Let
Yeah.
May still take in the playbook and so forth, and then possibly after Thanksgiving or so forth, then
Yeah.
start throwing them because with if Mac Jones, former first round draft pick, couldn't succeed. It's hard to think a rookie coming in that don't know the playbook can succeed right away. So that's why, they said, hey, we're going to get an upside quarterback. We're going to see what happens with that. And we got Jacoby Brissett in there to start off and be the transition team, so to speak. And then we'll see come Halloween, come Thanksgiving, the Patriots will say, okay, maybe this is now the time to start Drake May.
Yeah, that'll be the smartest move. I can definitely see them doing that. He's in a more unique situation where he has a veteran quarterback ahead of him that understand NFL defenses, and you don't put all that pressure on that kid, so he can have a long, successful career. Daniels and Caleb, I mean, they gotta hit the ground running. It's no fallback plan. Those are the guys. But May have that trump card to where, he can hold the clipboard. He can get, a lot of reps in practice, but come game day, he knows he got the headset on, and he's sitting next to the quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator, and when Brissett come off the field, hey, this will happen. This is why I did this.
Yep.
This will have, and basically build them up mentally. And then, that October, November, they out of it, throw him on the field, and let's see what he got for the next, 4 to 5 games of the season.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Hey, Marvin Harris Jr.
Yes, sir.
was
Mr.
selected.
Calculator, you got it, baby. Go ahead, rip it.
And let me tell you, best player in the draft. We were talking about it overall. There are no teams there's no cornerback out there that can cover him one-on-one. I mean, he proved that in college. He literally took a freshman quarterback at Ohio State playing against decent Big Ten, and we said it in our draft show that when he was one of the best receivers in the room when he had Garrett Wilson and Smith Njigba in there. So yeah, great body control, instinctive open field runner. Tracks the ball well, makes over-the-shoulder catches easy. I guarantee you he was, when he was a kid, that's what he was out there with his daddy, catching those as a young teenager, catching passes from Peyton Manning. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think when it comes to 50-50 ball, he will win it. Kyler Murray was a happy man after draft day.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, for his dad, and I know, we all hype up our sons and all that stuff, but his dad wholeheartedly said his son, at the end of his NFL career, he might be better than him. And I mean, he was saying that with a straight face, and he was like, and that comes a tall order from, someone that has a gold jacket. I mean, yeah, like you said, he a lot of those cornerbacks that got drafted this year, last year, and the year before last, he went up against them in battle. I mean, they won some, he won some, but the vast majority of the battles, he came out scoring touchdowns, man. And I love the way he can get in and out of his breaks. I mean, he high points the ball. He's strong through, contact. I mean, when they was playing Georgia, if he didn't get hurt in that Georgia game,
it could be a different game.
It would have been a different game. I mean, he put on a show, and I mean, so yeah, that was a great pickup for the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, the offensive line was addressed in Los Angeles and in Tennessee. So what do you think about the moves that they made there with Joe Alt, especially Joe Alt with the Chargers?
Yeah. I was personally kind of surprised just for the mere fact that Joe Alt's more of a left tackle, and they already, Slater for the Chargers already one of the best left tackles in the league. So I was kind of surprised. But Jim Harbaugh said, "Hey, I don't care. I'm going to take the best O-line and I'll make it work." So that, and one of the teams that was most upset was the Titans because they wanted left tackle. They needed left tackle, but then they went, okay, well, we'll get one of the best right tackles in the league and make it work. So, the Chargers drove the Titans pick, so to speak. So I was kind of surprised because I really thought, and we said it, if y'all watch the show, we thought this was a prime way to trade with Minnesota because Minnesota was in the trade move, and we'll get over that in our winners losers segment. But yeah, I guess the Chargers just liked Alt so much that Minnesota was willing to trade, but it was the Chargers that have said, nah, we're okay. We're going to take the 6'8" behemoth and find a place to put them on our offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, both of those guys, barring injury and off the field issues and just the sheer love of the game, both of those guys should have 10+ year careers. I mean, playing in their positions and being, the best at their positions. I mean, right side, left side. I mean, those guys are professionals. They'll have around the clock training, and they'll get him acclimated on that right side. I know Herbert probably already sent the box of steaks to his house and said, "Please keep me clean." That's right. And Will Levis as well, man, because those guys, they were getting creamed last year.
Yeah.
I mean, Slater went down, and poor Herbert, man, it was a wrap. And Will Levis, I mean, if he wasn't fast, his helmet would have still been in the the Music City turf.
Yeah.
That guy
Yeah.
was taking some shots when he played. So
Yeah.
those are solid offensive linemen, man. I just wish that they have some great careers, man, going forward.
Hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
Yeah,
offensive line is
absolutely.
key.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, my son, especially growing up, my son was crazy. I mean, he was crazy about Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Spider-Man, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and
Yeah,
But speaking of neighborhood, right? It's going to be a beautiful day in the neighborhood for the New York Giants. And I mean, come on now, Mr. Rogers said it. Won't you be my neighbor, right? So they're going to
yeah.
bring in neighbors, and so neighbors at receiver, man. Which I think.
Uh, great. Hey, he comes from a great system in LSU. I mean, LSU knows how to produce receivers. That's for sure. 6 foot, 199 pounds. Again, another great route runner. Great after the catch too. And I think they paid so much money to Daniel Jones. A lot of people say, "Hey, let's go quarterback," but are you really want to spend? You already have a quarterback in house. You want to spend a top, 10 pick on a quarterback you're not sure of. A lot of people did tie the Giants to J.J. McCarthy, but I think they said, hey, instead of replacing Daniel Jones, we're going to again try to help Daniel Jones. So hey, the top, we talked about the top three receivers. So hey, we talk about tier breaks. They said, hey, we're going to get one of those top three. So let's get let's give Daniel Jones a help and get what some people had to him. Like I said, we talked about 1A, 1B, 1C. On the same level as a Marvin Harrison Jr. So hey, can't go wrong with getting one of those top tier receivers, especially after those three quarterbacks are off the board.
Yeah, I totally agree. Neighbors is a great athlete. He'll have a solid career as long again playing on that bad MetLife turf. I just wish him, great health because that that
That
turf is horrible.
Darren Waller figured that out.
Yeah,
Early on. We thought he was
exactly.
healthy at the beginning of the season, but it didn't last long.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
last too
man.
long. Didn't last long, but hey, hopefully Atlanta, they hope their pick is going to last. It's going to be long lasting. So
Yeah.
what a perfect time for Cole from the Loader to join us as well. And so we're gonna, and he's kind of in the Atlanta area too. So that'll
Okay.
be good to pick his brain on this too. But we're gonna really make a stop here in the ATL and talk about the Atlanta Falcons pick, selecting Michael Penix Jr., quarterback from University of Washington. We're gonna talk about that. But before we do, also, Brooks Case, all right, he's a huge Falcon fan. And I know Calculator been wanting to find out more detail on this. So what you're gonna have to do, Calculator, is hang on just a little bit
Okay.
because tomorrow Case will go ahead and do his episode Case Closed and
Okay.
talk about what's going on in Atlanta.
That was going
It's
to be
gonna
my
be
question. I needed to know
yeah,
when that was going to post, Mr. 41, because that's a must listen to. Because, hey, there's a guy that knows about ATL sports. It's Brooks Case. So
eh,
that's definitely, if you want to know, get him in the mind of a diehard Falcon fan, that is definitely a show to check into.
yep, absolutely. So welcome to Atlanta. We'll find out what's going on there from Case perspective. But right now, the people that are on the case right now is Calculator, Coach from the Low, and Philly Red Zone. So let's talk about this. Michael Penix Jr. Did you like the pick? Do you understand what the Falcons are trying to do here, or do you even think they know what they're doing here? Let's hear it, guys. And let's
I
go ahead and
mean,
just kick it off, Randy, and then just pass it around.
okay. I mean, at first it was a head scratcher. I'm like, you just paid Kirk Cousins $100 million, guaranteed with 50 up front. Why would you draft a quarterback? But once, the dust settled, I understood what Atlanta's doing. They figure, Kurt is what, 35,
30,
36.
36, 36, yeah.
36. So you figure, you get 2 years out of him, maybe. Kurt does have an injury history. Kurt looked good. Penix would look good. You can package Kurt up and maybe squeak a second round pick out for him, the following year, and go ahead with Penix next year. But the thing is, in the locker room, my whole concern was you got Penix. He's a first round pick. He was drafted, seventh overall, eighth overall.
Hey,
You know, so now in the locker room, if I'm Drake London, if I'm Kyle Pitts, if I'm Bijan Robinson, who am I going to butter up to in the offense? Because Kurt already got a target on his back, and it's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and Penix is going to be your guy. So at practice, it's you already creating controversy in your locker room, by drafting this kid. I mean, good pickup. The kid can play ball, but I just think it's Atlanta already got a target on their back that their season is not going to be great due to this pick and the controversy in the locker room.
Yeah, and here's the key, and here's the thing. Yeah, we can say Kirk Cousins, his injury, he's coming off. Well, why did you pay the man $100 million to come to town? That's the key. That's what everybody. I say you paid the man money as if he's that you. Hopefully, your medical staff came in because that's what a lot of people are missing. Yeah, Michael Penix is a great pick. If you didn't pay Kirk Cousins $100 million to come in, you needed. Brooks was on it. Folks, you got to go and look at our draft preview show because Brooks broke it down. The Falcons needed help on the defense. It wasn't their quarterback the quarterback was the issue. That's why they addressed it in the offseason and not through the draft. So they said, oh, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. But I just don't – I mean, I understand the pick as far as – picking him where he is because he's a great player. I don't understand the pick when you just paid $100 million for a quarterback. That's my only thing. So yeah, and Penix, it's not like he's one of those young guys that need to develop. The man,
that's another thing.
They said he's the same age as Trey Lance, who's been in the league for 3 years. So the man has plenty of reps. He knows offense. He played a pro style offense in Washington. So the man knows how to play. And for one, I'm not mistaken, wasn't he with Indiana at the start of his career? So he knows he can he can go from one system to another seamlessly. But yeah, it was a bad pick from the fact that you already had the thing and you want to talk about locker room? What's the conversation you had with Kirk Cousins? Hey man, how's it going? Oh, by the way, we just drafted your replacement 2 years early. I was like, what? What are you doing? So, but hey, Kirk Cousins has had that thing before where he's always. It seems like he was always fighting for a job. But Kirk Cousins, one of the richest quarterbacks ever to come to the NFL because he was on that franchise tag in Washington year. He was always being paid as a top 5 quarterback. In the league, and then it's like, hey, just another thing of adversity to overcome for Kirk Cousins. So yeah, I kind of wish I'd have been on that phone call that they said that they had with Kirk Cousins because if you heard what the brass said, they weren't disclosing any of that because that's a personal reason. So I don't think somebody was too happy on the other side of that phone call.
Yeah. There's a lot of bleeping going on.
Yeah. Yeah, bleeping. That's right.
Yeah. Cole, you're in the Atlanta area. What's going on with this, bro? What's up?
Hey, so wait, so y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, you good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Y'all can hear me? All right.
Yes,
so
sir.
A lot of people don't like this. A lot of people don't like this pick. A lot of people hate this pick as a fact, as in you draft a 24-year-old. By the time he should play, be 27. I love this pick. I'll be straight honest with y'all. I love the pick. Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles. Yes, you paid Kirk Cousins plenty of money, but he is coming off an Achilles. He has not had the best playoff success. And every great organization that's a Super Bowl winning organization or a playoff winning team has a second quarterback. It has a backup quarterback. For example, the Jets. We see how that went when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. The Eagles when they won the Super Bowl. Nick Foles got hurt. Not Nick Foles.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz got hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nick Foles step up. You win the Super Bowl. You need, even if it's youth or not, you need a good backup quarterback. Like Mr. Philip Redzone said, the dude can play. He can play. We all had him not win the national championship, but he went to the national championship undefeated. You can't take that away from him. So the only thing I'd say is wrong with the Falcons, they should have let Kirk Cousins know. It's because if we're being realistic, it's no difference with the Steelers and the Steelers with and the only difference with us is we're not paying Russell Wilson that much money because Denver Broncos screwed themselves.
That's a big difference.
We paying them $97 million.
If we were paying Russell a lot of money, we still need a backup quarterback. We don't have Kenny Pickett. We don't have Trubisky. We don't have Rudolph.
And I think I know you're glad you don't either. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, every good organization has a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He's coming.
No, that's valid. Those are valid points, and hey, it may turn out that way. Cousins may start the season, get injured, and then you have your guy come in, have Penix come in and kind of hold the fort, or even take over. May have a Tom Brady moment. You never know.
Yeah.
So it looks like what Atlanta decided to do was just go heavy at quarterback, and then try to figure the rest of it out later.
Hold up, I have a question.
Sure.
This reminds me of a team up in the Northwest who signed a quarterback from Green Bay, paid him a lot of money, then drafted a kid in the 3rd round named Russell Wilson.
Yeah, the Seahawks did that. Yeah, we paid a lot of money for that quarterback from Green Bay.
Oh, that was crazy.
I try my best not to say his name anymore.
That's why I said a quarterback. I don't want you to have flashbacks, man.
Yeah,
but we know enough.
But you know what though? That's touche. But you know what though? With the Russell Wilson pick, then it wasn't like Russell was considered a top 10 player or anything, draft pick or anything. I think it was 3rd round, and it kind of worked itself out in the preseason, and he became what he did. But yes, similar situation where you draft that young guy, and hey, cashed in on it, and but Cousins has been kind of, even though he doesn't have the great playoff record, he has proven to be a very good starter. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out. One combination that I think about, even though it's not exactly the same way, is Falcons had Chris Chandler. I believe that was, in the late 90s or whatever. And then they signed Mike Vick like around 01.
Oh, yeah.
Remember they drafted Vick.
Yeah.
So you had like a veteran, and then you had then the young guy behind. So we'll see if history somewhat repeats itself. We'll see how that goes for the Falcons. Definitely brought some excitement to the draft and a lot of conversation. It definitely got the draft kicked up a lot, a whole nother notch. And so, with that said, gentlemen, let's talk about another quarterback briefly, unless you have anything else to say about.
No.
Okay. JJ McCarthy. A lot of people want to know about McCarthy. He's the one that's replacing Cousins in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I mean, in Minnesota. So, how do you all feel about McCarthy?
Hey, I like McCarthy.
Next CJ Stroud. I'm calling it now. I'm sending
CJ Stroud. Okay.
I'm sending it now. Record me, get my name, Coca-Cola. I'm saying now, he's the CJ Stroud of this class. Either him or Jaden Daniels are the CJ Stroud of this class. I'm saying it now, and I have no shame about it.
Wow. That is a huge announcement there from Coach.
Yeah, those are some big shoes to put that young man in. I mean,
and I'm okay with it.
JJ is a leader. I'll start there. He will command the locker room. He'll be best friends with the Jet. He's gonna do his best to get the Jet the ball. Because I mean, Osborne and those guys, if even Osborne's still there, I know he got the young kid from from USC. The other receiver, I forgot his name, but so he got some good receivers. The question is with JJ is his arm strength. Can he get the ball down the field? When he got pressure in his face. If you look at those Michigan games, it was a lot of dump offs to the tight ends, a lot of dump offs to the running backs on wheel routes.
That Penn State game, when they sacked him like 3 times in a row, they ran the ball the rest of the game. If y'all watched that Penn State-Michigan game, they didn't let J.J. McCarthy throw the ball. And so that's what's going to be a wake-up call for J.J. McCarthy. He don't have the best offensive line on the
No.
field all the time. Now he does have one of the best receivers in there, but again, I mean, if we saw what happens when he has pressure, he can get rattled. His defense, the Michigan defense, bailed him out in the Ohio State game. So yeah, that was a good point. Is like it's going to be a different when he doesn't have the best players on the field at all times coming up.
And then another thing, if you look at the like some video when he's spinning the ball to those receivers and they're open, they got to reach back to the ball.
Yeah.
He's not hitting them in the bread basket where it's over the shoulder like we talked about Marvin Harrison. Those guys reaching back, and then they can't finish their routes and get to the end zone. They're basically, once they catch it, the defender is right on them. So it's gonna be a rude awakening for JJ. I hope he find Tom Brady. He worked with that guy. That he's an alum, and he work on his arm strength. That's what's going to be the kicker. I mean, the kid can play ball. He's tough as nails. But yeah, that arm strength is really gonna come to bite him back in the NFL until he work on that.
Yeah, and that's again, that's going to be the key. But a lot of people thought he would have been ahead of Penix, but you look at personnel as well.
Yeah.
Penix is better fit in an Atlanta area because they have the deeper targets in the London and the Pitts, whereas you have the Justin Jefferson and the Osborne's more of the short type guys that fits the McCarthy. So that's why the Vikings were enamored with McCarthy. So
yeah, and Addison, he can get down the field. That's his name, Addison.
Yeah, that's Addison. That's right.
Yeah, Addison can get down that field. So
yeah, so he definitely has some stuff, some receivers to work with. Wow, it's time to talk Saints.
Oh.
All right, you got it, Mr. Calculator.
Hey, let me tell you, we had the pizza out, we had the nachos, we were everything, and then all of a sudden, it almost went on the floor when that Penn State tackle went before the Saints pick, because everything I had, I was like, I had everything. I thought Fashanu would have went to us, but hey, I give props to the Jets. They made, in my opinion, because hey, they need Aaron Rodgers to be protected because we saw what. But hey, I started looking back and I said, okay, I go down my draft board when like we talk about anticipation. You go back to the well and say, okay, I said, hey, Fuaga, the Oregon State right tackle. I said he is still out there, and so I, you start looking at who's ahead of you and who could possibly take it. And I said, I think we got a shot. But hey, I love what the Saints did, picking that Oregon State. We needed to address the tackle position amid questions surrounding Ryan Ramczyk's health, who was at right tackle. A disappointing start to Trevor Penning's career, who was our left tackle. Had to bench him, put in Pete out there, and then Pete did so good he got picked up, but hey, there's a lot to like, especially to Fuaga as a run blocker, one of the best run blocking right tackles in this year's draft, and the Saints wanted to shore that up. So hey, I love the pick, but hey, what I really loved about the Saints, the overall draft, was what they did in the second round. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a quick history lesson of what happened. The Eagles, and Philly Red Zone will probably go, so I don't want to steal his thunder. But when they traded up in round 2 to pick to 40, that's when they say, okay, what's another big need for the Saints? Even though the Eagles drafted a cornerback with their first pick, they went and picked Dijon with their second pick. So the Saints, they were on the phone. We talk about those 40 people in the war room. They were calling Green Bay saying, okay, they saw a cornerback run that was about to happen. So, sure enough, they called him. The pick went through, and then they got Mr. Kool-Aid McKenzie, who, hey, they had Dijon and Kool-Aid McKenzie really even on their board. But hey, the Saints said, hey, we cannot take a chance, because they saw who was behind that 40 pick. They saw the Houston Texans needed a quarterback. Arizona needed a cornerback. And they said the only way we can get the guy we want when DeJean went off the board with Philadelphia. And that was a great move by Philadelphia, moving up to get the cornerback they wanted. So, it was great though. So they drafted Kool-Aid McKenzie, and then just like those guys in the war room saw, Kamir Lassiter went to the Texans at cornerback. Max Melton, cornerback from Rutgers, went to Arizona. So that is what I really was impressed with the Saints, to have the foresight that, hey, as soon as DeJean went off the board, regardless of who took him, they were going to have to move up the board. Because right now, like I said, DeJean and Kool-Aid were still there. And they said, okay, if one of those went off the board, they had to move ahead of the Texans and Arizona. And then, hey, Spencer Rattler, folks, we talk about quarterbacks.
Another good pick.
If people remember, he was the #1 college recruited quarterback out of high school. Went to Oklahoma. Yes, he didn't play, but he did have a guy named Caleb Williams playing behind him, and Caleb Williams showed that he could do. And Spencer Rattler did well in South Carolina. Since entering college in 2020, he had Pro Football Focus graded him as an 88.9 overall, almost in the 90th percentile. He's had 63 big throws. You might say, hey, calculate. What's a big throw? A big time throw is a throw on either third or fourth down that nets you either a first down or a touchdown on third and fourth. So those 63 is quite impressive for a career. And then we're going to keep going. Bub Means, wide receiver out of Pittsburgh. Hey, they needed depth at receiver. Olave can't do it all. So it's like, hey, let's get a guy that has racked up 16 receptions, over 15 yards in 2023. And he doesn't miss a lot of games, because that's what was hurting on what Michael Thomas said. Secondary receiver just could not keep people on the field. And then I love Jalen Ford, linebacker of Texas. Yes, his coverage skills are suspect, but the man will stuff the run. Just ask Alabama, those 2 games that he was there. He great horizontal, foot skills. Again, we'll work on the coverage, but right now they just needed a tackling machine. He's a guy they can plug in right away. And then Boyd, Christian Boyd, they needed another interior guy. Cameron Jordan's not getting any younger. Yes, Christian Boyd didn't have a lot of competition. He was in the FCS, Northern Iowa, but hey, good against the run, extremely productive, but again, lower competition, but it's depth the Saints were looking for in the 6th round. And then one of my favorite picks was their last pick in the 7th round, Josiah Azirim. I think I would pronounce his name. He's out of Eastern Kentucky. Yes, again, we talk about lower competition, but hey, there's some other lower competition type guys that, become good quarterbacks. And another tackle, again, strictly depth position, no sacks during the year in 2023. I think he's the hidden gem. I'm thinking 2 or 3 years down the road, he's a guy that is going to take over Penning's career, the guy that they drafted in with a high pick a couple years ago. That doesn't seem like he's panning out. But yeah, he's a guy that I think has a lot of potential. So I think they hit pretty much every area that they needed depth in, and I look at 4 to 5 starters out of this draft class. So love what the Saints did in this draft.
Yeah. Well, yeah, very good job by the Saints. And
they did great.
We'll see how it goes. They're definitely drinking the Kool-Aid. What's you guys' favorite Kool-Aid flavor?
Oh man, great.
Oh, there you go. Great. I've always been
great with lemons in it.
Great.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. 411, you know who I'm referencing.
Yes, I do. Most definitely. Yes,
sir.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Hey, let's jump right into the Indianapolis Colts. Earl, he's from the Chicago, the Indiana area, and Earl made, he made his pick in our draft. Calculate, you have our draft board, but in the NFL draft on Thursday night, they went and picked up the guy that we all said was one of the most talented players in this draft. Just had medical history in Latu. And so what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about the Colts and that pick?
I was impressed that they took a flyer on him at 15. That was a little higher than what I would have did if I was a GM, just because of the medicals, but their medical staff gave them the thumbs up all the way around, and they have themselves a pass rusher. I mean, him and I want to say if they still have Foster on that line or whatever. But that defensive line is going to be a reckoning crew, getting to the passer. I mean, that kid. I mean, his first step, he know how to set tackles up. He know how to set guards up. His secondary move, if they take that away, he got a third move. And then when he gets to the quarterback, he's bringing that thunder to either try to strip the ball away or get the quarterback on the ground. And then he also plays the run well. That's as a pass rusher. Most pass rushers, they just worry about hitting the quarterback. They don't want to play the run. But this guy's playing the run all the way to the quarterback. And then he's a big dude, man. I think he's about 6'4", 6'5".
6'5",
about
259.
Yeah. The kid is stout. Yeah. So man, I was impressed that they went Latu over Dallas Turner. And I mean, but when you put on the tape, one player is one-dimensional and bull rush, and if you shut that down, he has no secondary move. But this guy, he's going to impress. For rookie defensive player of the year, I got him on the list. High.
Yeah,
wow.
As long as he stays on the field, you're exactly right. Because you talk about a run, 34 tackles for losses in the past 2 years, 23 and a half sacks for just 2 years. That's pretty amazing right there. That's
a career.
You get stats in 2 years. That is amazing. But yeah, I love how he plays both the run, and that's what they did. They wanted a guy that could play the run and the pass. And that's why they say, hey, we're going to take a chance on this guy, because if there's no injury, he's a top 10 pick, even with this.
Exactly.
Even with all these offensive players that went this draft, he would have been a top 10 pick if he would have been if there were no medical red flags.
Yeah, maybe Atlanta would have went him instead of.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not going to change clothes like I did last week. Before I made my pick, but Seattle, all right, takes defensive tackle Byron Murphy, the second from the University of Texas, with Coach McDonald from Baltimore Ravens, now the new head coach in Seattle, with the defensive mindset that he has in that 3-4 defense. Was this the right pick for the Seahawks?
Well, I think you're the fan that would think.
I mean, y'all the experts.
Well, hey,
I don't want to be biased on the thing. I want to hear from you guys.
I will pump our show again. We said he was like the top defensive tackle in this draft.
Was.
So if you want a defensive tackle, hey, Murphy and Leonard Williams on the interior is going to be a strength for the Seahawks in 2024, folks. I mean, the man, since 2021, Murphy had 12.5% pressure rate, which is third among defensive tackles with at least 500 pass rushing snaps, trailing only 2023 first-round picks, Jalen Carter and Kalijah Kancey. So, yes, the guy can pressure the quarterback, and he can stuff the run, which is what I'm sure Seattle was going for, especially after all of Seattle's offensive linemen were off the board. So they say, hey, not just get the best defensive tackle on the board. You really can't go wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. This kid he's a stud. I mean, him and Leonard Williams, they're going to please, offenses just hit the edges. Don't even try to run up the middle.
You ain't going in the middle.
You don't go in the middle. You're not moving those guys.
That's
and then both of them are, can rush the passer as well. So, I mean, he'll definitely be a corner piece that Seattle would definitely build around. I mean, they got a solid secondary, and then now you're getting pressure up front. I mean, that defense is going to have a new look and a lot more stouter look against the run. So
wow. Look, I got a Kool-Aid smile now. I appreciate that. Yeah, y'all keep talking about it, guys. Y'all keep that rolling right there. And then we also drafted Christian Hayes at offensive line, and they say he's going to be a good lineman too. Seahawks got a good grade there. So I like what Seattle's doing, building the lines. Let's get it back to where it needs to be.
They always say you win in the trenches, folks.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yep. Absolutely. So looking. Oh yeah, go ahead, Cole.
I like that Seattle's getting younger also, because their team is actually with the ages, except for like their secondary, is a little on the older side as a team as a whole. So I like that they're rebuilding, getting a little younger and building youth again. So I won't say they're going into like a rebuilding year, but they get into where their youth is and they can build around players.
Yeah, hey,
And Mr.
absolutely.
41, they didn't build the Legion of Boom in just one day, right? It took them
Nah.
a few years to get it in there.
Oh yeah, it took time, but hey, I like this. I like this. And then again with the Ravens, defensive guru coming over now.
Oh yeah.
There. Remember when they had Sarah, what is his name, Sarah Gusa and all those guys?
Oh man.
Oh
I
yeah,
forget his name now, but on that line for the Ravens, and they were just mauling people. I mean, this is what we're talking about here. Seattle has been giving it up on the defense end too
yeah,
long now. So it's time to
yeah.
make change there. So I'm looking forward to this upcoming season for the Seahawks. We're going to now, Cole, since you're back and you're the University of Alabama fan, Dallas Turner. How you feel about Dallas Turner being selected there?
Hey, great pick, great edge rusher. Big reason why, Alabama offense at the time being wasn't the best, but Dallas Turner is not only he's a great player and a great rusher as he is, he creates problems for the offense. And not only he create problems for the offense, he's also a leader on defense. So you're getting a 2-for-1 special right there. So I think they did a great job at picking up Dallas Turner. I say he'll be in my top 5, top 3 defensive rookie of the year.
All
Wow,
right.
that's impressive right there. And he has long arms too. So
Yeah.
that's always coming to hands when you play a defense. So that's good too.
Yeah,
You
the
have something to say
only
there, calculator?
yeah, the thing is they better hit on this pick because if people saw what they had to do to move, Minnesota had to move up to get that draft, folks. Out of 93 first-round non-quarterback trades since 2004, this is the 9th most expensive trade-up according to ESPN draft pick valuations, despite it occurring in the middle rounds. And probably generous because the Vikings have a rookie quarterback, which means there's a decent chance they are drafting at the beginning of rounds next year. Folks, after the trades that the Vikings did, mostly this one, the Vikings have 3 draft picks next year. A first-round pick and 2 fifth-round picks. That's it for the Vikings. So they better hit on this because they paid a pretty penny to trade up in the. Granted, it's a first-round pick, but man, they gave a haul to get Dallas Turner. So yeah, they like him as well because they gave up a pretty penny to get him.
Oh man, they love him. So yeah, Dallas Turner, man, he's coming in. You can't say that there's no love for him.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
He's gonna get on the field early. I mean, they with Danielle Hunter being with the Texans now, so they need defensive help. Like today.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, because I think the Vikings also picked up free agents Jonathan Greenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. So they needed those guys aren't going to do it in the defense. So they said, okay, we need to get what was considered one of the best pass rushers, healthy pass with no medical flags in this draft.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to see how Turner turns out in Minnesota. So,
and they also say one of his strengths also is pass coverage. He can drop into pass coverage, which is definitely going to help in a Flores defense. Who loves to blitz. So if he does that zone blitz, he has a guy that can drop back in coverage in Dallas.
Yeah.
Hey, look at those arms. I'm telling you, man. Pass coverage, tackle. I mean, he can do it all. So it's great. I think it's a good move. Again, they bet the farm. Calculate. You play poker. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They must have pushed all the chips in on this.
They're all in, my friends, because I was impressed that I thought they did a good trade to trade up to get JJ McCarthy before the Raiders and Denver pick, because they didn't have to give up much. Of course, they only had to go up one slot, but they basically solidified their quarterback. But when I saw that haul they had to give up to get Dallas Turner, it was like, whoa, that was definitely all in. On that play.
I wonder if Brian Flores, he was pounding the table for this kid because he's gonna have a great DC. He's gonna use Turner as a weapon. Brian Flores, he come from that Belichick tree, so he's gonna have something to use this kid to get pressure on the opposing quarterbacks and help stop the run. So. Yeah, I mean, it was a solid pick. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, this guy on a lot of mock drafts, he was supposed to have been off the board between 6 through 12. He
Yeah,
was supposed to have been off
they
the board.
a lot of mocks had him going as the first defensive player off the board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So,
So
yeah,
they definitely getting talent, and there's talent on both sides now. As
yep.
far as their first two picks,
Mhm.
one on the east side of the field. There's a new member in Cincinnati. Uh, the humongous offensive lineman from the University of Georgia, Mims. So this new member in Cincinnati, I think it's going to be. I think the quarterback Joe Burrow is looking forward to this.
Yeah. Oh,
What
Yeah.
yeah.
say you guys?
Well, remember, Mr. 401, we always thought they should have drafted Penei Sewell back in that draft, and instead they went with Jamar Chase. And okay,
Right,
we're not going
Detroit
to,
got
Jamar
him.
Chase. I remember for people that don't know, Mr. 401 sent me a little meme or whatever of Joe Burrow getting sacked over and over.
Yeah,
And
over and
they
over.
drafted up on Sewell. But hey, Burrow is not going to be upset. Yes, Mims is raw, but goodness, 6'8", 340. That is, folks, that's big. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Yeah, he can be dominant at times, but he does. But again, he's still growing, which is why I think he went as high. In our mock draft, we had him going, next to last.
Yeah.
Possibly Baltimore or something like that. But Cincinnati wasn't playing games. They said we said we're going to get Mims because we want a guy that can keep. We want a guy that can knock out those pass rushers and second level defenders and stuff like that. So Mims, hey, Joe Burrow, he's going to be happy with that pick.
Yeah, the only thing with Mims, I know he's still young. He's still, like you said, he's still developing. I mean, he battled injuries at Georgia last year. I think they said he only played like 8 games.
Yeah.
So that's not a wealth of experience, on the field experience. But I mean, the measurables, man, you can't get around that. I mean, golly, I didn't know. I mean, that it may make humans like that in the lab, man. So
and he has not surrendered a sack in 372 career pass blocking snaps. So that's pretty good.
So Joe Burrow, I know Joe Burrow is happy. Because I mean, all he needs is 2.5 seconds, man, to get the ball out of his hand, because Jamar Chase is getting open. Him and T. Higgins, man, those guys. So hopefully, the kid he get out there and he play good ball, man, and we'll be able to see them later in the season.
Because Trent Brown, the right tackle for Cincinnati, he's only on a 1-year contract. So a lot of people say just penciling in Mims for next year So.
Well, wow, this is about to get really good here. We're gonna go calculator. Then calculator, you're gonna spin it over to Cole, because the Steelers have a draft pick after you talk about your Florida State defensive line tackle. Then we're gonna go to Philly Red Zone.
Yeah.
And he's gonna talk about his quarterback. So I already laid it all out here. Let's go ahead and what's the new verse going on in LA?
The new verse is, hey, we talked about it in our preview show. They're going to need pressure with Donald out of town. So say, hey, Verse is one of the most talented edge defenders in this class. The snap in his hips and handles jump out when you look at the tape. He has the first step, bend and closing speed to win off the edge, shoots his hands, engages the bigger blockers, which is an advantage. And hey, active hands, good speed, slips blocks, disrupts plays in the backfield. He pretty much has it all that you want out of an edge rusher. 6'4", 254. So yeah, I think they found a gem in Jared Verse. But again, it all come down to all those other offensive tackles and offensive players and those quarterbacks being drafted early on. It just pushed those elite defenders down the board. So yeah, I think the Rams got themselves a good edge rusher in Jared Verse.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, man. All right, Cole, what's going on, man? If you're there, hold on. Let me see if you can hear me. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. So the Steelers. All right. Your Steelers. Did you like the pick?
Are we talking about all the picks or just the first round pick?
Well, initially the first round pick, which offensive tackle, and then you can go ahead and just roll it all together. So give us your Steelers update then, Cole, from the low.
Love the pick. Love the pick. For Russell Wilson to strive, we need O lineman. And then for Najee Harris and Jalen Warren to strive, we need O lineman. I like Troy Fautanu out of Washington. I think it was a great pick. I think out of the O lineman that was already took in front of him, he fell into our laps. I can't technically remember if he was the draft pick I put for the mock draft. It was him or another lineman. I can't technically remember. But
Okay.
I love the
Calculator, get that for us.
Yeah, I love this pick. I think he's going to do very good for the Steelers and O line. Also, like all this the picks that the Steelers did, I think that we are in top 5 of drafts this year. At first, I didn't know where we was going because we just kept getting no linemen, and we wasn't getting a corner. We got a linebacker out of nowhere. Then we went and got another receiver. So after it all came to tuition, I'm cool. I think we had a top 5 draft. If we're not A+, we're somewhere in that B+, A- A range. We're somewhere in that range. We got Roman Wilson, slot receiver out of Michigan.
Yeah.
Second, third best with right behind Roman Dunze. We need another receiver. We have the pieces to not only be a deep threat as an offense threat and a run game. Now we got the slots. Now we got Cordell Patterson with Roman Dunze, not Roman Dunze, I'm sorry, with Roman striving out. We can expand the offense. Now I just pray that our OC don't have his head coach days at the Falcons.
Oh, hold on. Y'all got the Falcons' old coach?
Yeah,
the OC. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just pray he lead the ways over there with the Falcons.
Yeah.
Well, y'all know they're gonna run the ball.
Colby can't get rid of him, man. Come from the Falcons to the Steelers.
This is the winning program over here. I don't know what you had going on with the Falcons. We are a first round exit program over here. Remember, I said first round exit. Yeah. All we need to do now is get out of the first round. So I love the draft picks. I hope the coach know what he's doing because we gave him the weapons. We put it in his lap. So I am okay with it. I'm actually glad, and this is no diss to one of my Alabama players, that we did not get Kool-Aid McKinstry. I'm glad that we went the route we did and got O linemen and receivers because our defense, we're one of the best defenses in the league, but we can't keep stacking defense and not put up no points or be last in offense. So I'm glad we went the way we did.
And I think your Steelers did great in the third round when they got Peyton Wilson out of NC State.
Yeah, that was a big
he was one of the top linebackers in the. Although there's news out there. The reason he fell is they said the man only has. He doesn't have an ACL in one of his knees.
Yeah, that is true.
So I was like, hey, but that's why he fell. But I watched NC State, Florida State when they played each other for 2 years. That joker was in the backfield all game long. So Peyton Wilson is one dude, and it would be the Pittsburgh to go and get one of the top linebackers to add to that league.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what Pittsburgh did. I love the offensive guard / tackle that they picked up from Washington.
Oh yeah.
I like both Wilsons, the receiver and the linebacker. I mean, those are solid, lunch pail guys that you can, plug into your offense, plug into your defense, and just tell them to go and play. The only thing with the linebacker, like you were saying, Mr. Calculator, the knee issues, and then to combat that, he has a shoulder issue. But if he get past those, those injuries, man, and he have a injury-free start to his career, man, he's gonna be a problem in that Pittsburgh linebacker core. Because I mean, that's one thing Pittsburgh is gonna produce: receivers from out of nowhere and linebackers.
Yeah, they're great at doing that. Yeah, absolutely. So with that said, Kobe, is it way too soon to get that Super Bowl prediction?
Oh, No, it's not too soon. I'm saying this now. If we're not Super Bowl champions,
No, sir.
you know what I mean? Hey, like I say, record me, screen record me, write it down. You put quotation marks. If we're not Super Bowl champions this year, in the next, I say 3 years, we're Super Bowl champs. Whether it's with Wilson or whether it's with Fields, we're Super Bowl champions. I'm saying it now.
Yeah.
Hey, I said it on my show. The only person I fear is the Chiefs. Any other team, you put no fear in my heart.
Yeah, you gotta get out of that north, man. That north is deep.
Ooh, that's 4 deep there.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not scared of Ravens. That's all I fear. I'm not scared of Ravens. But the biggest accomplishment, and the reason I say 2 or 3 years, we are Super Bowl contenders. Make that clear. We're Super Bowl contenders. But the reason I say 2 or 3 years is I just want the Steelers to get out the first round. If we can get out the first round, we had a successful season, and I'm okay with that. Wilson if he's not comeback player of the year, he's in the talks. So I just want him to be a finalist, and I want us to get out of the first round. If we get out of the first round, and I say we lose second or we lose in the AFC Championship, it's an okay year with me. We had an improvement year.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't argue with that.
Not at all. All right. Well, there it is. Well, that the Steelers are in the state of Pennsylvania, and now, as Philly Red Zone knows, the Philadelphia Eagles are also in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir.
You lived there for a long time, Philly Red Zone. All right, so it's time to talk about the EAGLES Eagles and their draft.
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell to start. I mean, a great off the ball, and the young man showed that he could play press coverage. He didn't do a lot of that at Toledo, but I mean, the guy runs a sub 4.4. I mean, hand-eye coordination. He's a technician with getting PBUs and also intercepting the ball and taking the ball to the house. And then the young man showed, at times when he was called to play the run, he would come down and lay the wood on the running back. So he's not shy to get his jersey and pants dirty. He's not trying to be a diva out there. So I was very impressed when we were doing our mock drafts and he came off the board. That's why I was doing this, because that's who I wanted to draft. And I went with Higgins. But yeah, Quinyon, man, I mean, he turned heads. I mean, and the crazy thing about him is Nick Saban was recruiting him in the portal. He wanted him to go ahead and put his papers in so he could bring him to Alabama. And the kid showed loyalty to Toledo because they gave him a shot, and it paid off. He's ended up in the first round. Then the Eagles double back and trade their 50th pick and 53rd pick to our Washington Commanders. Thank you, Commanders. So we can go ahead and get Cooper DeJean in Philly, and is that JAWN? That's his new name, DeJean. I mean, the guy's a stud, all-purpose player. I mean, the measurables just jump off the sheet with this kid. I mean, he's a pure athlete. I mean, they're gonna put him at safety, corner, outside corner, slot corner. He might get down and get his nose dirty in some packages where he'll back a linebacker in that Palomalu role. I would love to see him play the Joker role where you don't know where he's coming from. He's coming for your quarterback, because any lineman that try to put it get to him, he's quick around him. So that was a great pickup. So to me, the Eagles had 2 first-round picks because he was projected to be in the first round. In our draft, I mean, I gave him to Detroit. And then the 3rd round had me scratching my head with Jackson's Hunt out of Houston Christian here in Houston. But I mean, the measurables for this kid, he's 6'4", he's about 255. I mean, they said he's an athletic freak. So we'll see. I didn't have a lot of tape or information on him, so I'm gonna just go off with the scout said. I mean, Mal Kiper rated him as one of his top edge rushers in this year's draft. Even being a small school kid who converted from safety to edge rusher, he played at Cornell, so the kid got smarts, and then he transferred to Houston Christian and finished out. And then getting Will Shipley out of Clemson. I mean, that kid is they trying to call him CMC 2.0. If he's CMC 0.0, I'll
Wow.
take it.
Yeah.
Look, I'll take it. I mean, you got a third round back to go with Saquon. I mean, this kid can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's an extension of the receiving game. Hard line. I mean, he runs anywhere between a 4.4, 4.5. I mean, so he's solid. And then they double backed and picked up Anaya Smith out of Texas A&M, a 5'9", 190-pound slot receiver. Not the fastest guy, but he's a route technician, tough guy. He knows how to get open in space, and he's shifty. I mean, this guy got return skills. I mean, he catch the ball. You can knock his helmet sideways. He get up, straighten his helmet, and go back to the huddle. I love those kind of guys. That's what St. Brown. He remind me of St. Brown when I watched him play. Not as fluid, but he can get there. Then they got Keegan out of Michigan, offensive line. This guy at guard is a lunch pail guy. 6'5", 315 pounds of pure just nastiness. I mean, I saw a picture of this guy. He had that black paint all over his face, just looking like he was ready to go to war, man. I love guys like that on that offensive line. And then, they doubled back and picked up the legacy pick, but this kid can play, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I mean, he's not as big as his dad, but the guy know how to play football. He's quick to the point. He know how to read guards and tackles when they trying to take him out of the play. He know how to sink his hips, get under the blocks, shed blocks, and still keep his eyes on the ball carriers. And he can play the pass. So when they try to flex him out against the tight end, he can go ahead and hold his own. Where the Eagles suffered at linebacker, man. That Super Bowl paid me because we didn't have linebackers that could stay with Kelsey, and hopefully this kid can come in and do that. Then they double back and who did they end up getting? Johnny
Wilson.
Johnny Wilson.
Out of Florida State. I was ready to talk about my boy.
When they got Johnny, all 6'6". Oh man, dude. I cringed that I knew they was gonna say, oh, he should be a tight end. No, leave that man on the outside. I'm already picturing in my head Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown.
Oh, man.
You put Johnny on the outside, Smith on the end. Oh man. Touchdowns.
6'6", 231, runs a 4.5, 240. Oh my goodness. I mean,
and we talked about that name earlier, Marquise Colston. If you look at the measurables, that is Marquise Colston all over again. Man, if this kid have a fraction of the career, my gosh, the Eagles is in great hands. Man. And then to finish up with a Kelsey clone, I forgot the guard center name from NC. McMahon, man. That kid, he's what 6'3", 6'4", about 190 something pounds. Wet, but I mean, not 190, like about 290. What they say, 299 or something like that. He's slighted build, but he's a technician at what he does. I mean, he's quick to the point of attack. You know how to set his body up, sink his hips, take on defenders, and let the ball carriers do what they do. So overall, man, I give the Eagles draft, man, straight A, man. I was impressed, man. I was shocked, but impressed, man, with the whole entire draft for the Eagles.
Well, yeah, and what's the point of the draft? To fill weaknesses, right? They filled every single week. Even Kelsey is going away. Well, they drafted interior linemen. There's a problem in the secondary. You get 2 of the top 5 cornerbacks in the draft, and that DeJean pick, that was that's
crazy.
Who the Saints really wanted. So that's why when Philadelphia moved up and picked them, the Philadelphia knew the Saints had eyes on them as well as Houston and Arizona. So that's why I tell you, Philadelphia moved up at the right time. Got DeJean, broke my heart a little bit because I saw him fall. The Saints were there, and then as soon as he went out, I saw the Saints got to move up, and sure enough, the Saints moved up to get Kool-Aid. I give you Eagles, and they stayed put. They didn't have to move up in the first round much. The top cornerback I had rated in the league out of Toledo fell right to them. So
Yeah.
they
So
stayed put in, everything fell right. But yeah, that Johnny Wilson pick, I said, man, I couldn't believe he lasted to the 6th round.
I
That
know,
was
man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, but hey, he's gonna be in that receiver room with AJ and Devontae
uh,
and those guys, man. And all he got to do is sit and be a sponge, man.
right.
You got skinny Batman and swole Batman. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, Wilson, he won't have to be finding double coverage too much.
Oh no,
They got the
no.
other guys out that people are going to be worried about. So Johnny
Exactly.
Wilson will
Look,
do
I'm
that.
already putting him in the slot, man. Get him on
Oh
the
yeah,
linebacker safety.
man.
Let's go.
There
Let's
we
go.
go.
Well, I tell you what, man, the Eagles, they find a way. You know what I mean? They just find a way. They continue to add and build. And it was the Georgia Eagles last year, right? For the
Yeah.
Philadelphia Bulldogs. But now the Eagles just went all over the place now and just and picked up all kind of gems, man. So yeah, the Eagles they're gonna have a great season coming up. And like I said, they building the depth, they got the youth. I mean, hey man, the arrow is just pointing straight up for the Eagles. And I know you're happy about that, Philly Red Zone. So is my dad. And
Oh
I
Yeah.
and
yeah.
Yeah. And they
Thumbs
and
got to
up,
get
he's
man.
you
younger.
Hey, where's the
and
thumbs up picture of Mr. 411? Tell the producers to
oh,
get on that.
he's not too far
There we
away.
There you
go.
go.
There he
There
is.
There you go.
I love it. Every time we do the crossing the lines, if the Eagles is on there, I get the thumbs up
Yes,
from
yeah,
Pop.
sir. Yes,
I like
sir.
that.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
yeah.
but
All
I
right.
loved it, man. And they had to get young, man. They have to get young in that secondary. That's another thing with getting Mitchell and DeJean, was big for us, man. Because Slay and Bradbury, man, those guys is on the back end of their careers, man. And it's just time to, turn the tide, man, and then let the young guys get out there, man. So, I was again just super stoked, man. I can't wait till the season start.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be amazing, guys. Hey, I know we've been here for a minute. We're right here at the end, right? We're at the 2 minute warning. And guys, you got anything you want to close us out with? I know we didn't talk about every pick in the first round, but if there's anything you just want to throw out there, to kind of wrap it all up, that'd be nice. Calculator, you want to kick that?
Well, my ending thought is I'm going to go back to winners and losers. I think we pretty much talked about the winners. I felt this. I mean, I'm not being. I'm maybe biased, but I think the Saints had a great pick. I laid it out. Philly Red Zone laid out what his. Colby laid out what. Hey, all three of the ones I have as A plus. And it's funny that you talked about the Colts. I actually had the Colts as an A plus. So those were my four
Wow.
top drafts that I thought overall. I already talked about how I thought Atlanta may have liked the picks, but just it didn't make much sense. So their draft didn't match the offseason. A lot of times you match the offseason, and then that's why you do the offseason free agents early, and then you fill in the blanks through the draft. I think the Falcons messed up the order in that. And again, love the Vikings picks this year, but folks, a lot of Vikings fan, after they pick first, they're going to skip on Friday because they only got 2 more picks in the 5th round, which will be on Saturday. So, I love their picks this year, but I think what's going to hurt you is down the road, next year, especially they got a rookie quarterback. So they laid it out perfectly. And in one of the tougher divisions in football. So it's possible they could have a lot of high 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round. Well, they don't going to have them, the teams they traded to. So I give credit to the teams that took advantage of the Vikings wanting to be active and stuff like that. But hey, it's par for the course. O'Donnell comes from that Rams coaching tree where they don't care about picks.
Oh.
They were celebrating in LA that they hadn't had a 1st round pick since 2016. The Rams were high-fiving, hey, we got a 1st round pick, stuff like that. So O'Connell said, hey, we're just gonna do what we can now and try and see what we can do later. So hey, the Rams won a Super Bowl. They do have a Super Bowl victory under that philosophy. So we'll see how it works. But yeah, it was interesting. I like what they got. I just didn't like what they had to give up to get what they got, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And my head scratcher through this whole draft was the Buffalo Bills. Why, when you talk about pain, why would you make a trade with your nemesis and you gave them a Ferrari?
Yes.
You let Xavier go there. and you have to deal with this dude. I mean, granted, they traded back with Carolina. They end up getting their receiver, the Coleman kid out of FSU. Good kid, good stud, receiver for Josh
Mhm.
Allen, and Josh Allen said he handpicked him. But you don't trade with the Chiefs,
That
like
yeah,
of all
that's the head scratcher. It's like, hey,
of all
we love the
teams.
philosophy of the trade, but you don't trade for a team that's putting you out at 3 straight playoffs and give
Exactly,
them what they want.
exactly.
Yeah,
Speed.
totally agree with you.
Yeah, so that was my one head scratcher. I mean, the Jets. I like the. I mean, not the Jets. The Raiders. I like the Brock Bowers pick for them. I know they picked up
Mhm.
Mayer last year. They still don't have the quarterback. I was talking with a Raiders fan today. If I'm the Raiders, I'm calling the Titans and see what it would take to get Malik Willis out of Tennessee. At least you got a young quarterback that can spin it and get the ball to Adams and those weapons. And that's young that you can mold. But everybody else, man, all the squads, got what they needed out of their drafts, and we'll see, man, in a couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, in a couple of more months, there's the 2025 draft. And
Ooh.
here's a way too early mock draft. Okay.
Uh,
So we already have our mind on 2025 here, gentlemen. So that's the way too early draft. Any names stick out? Any names we need to really pay attention to
well,
this
the
season?
name that sticks out, in my opinion, that's not on your board, Mister For One, is Mason Graham.
Okay.
You had Milrose on there, right? Well, Milrose remembers Mason Graham in overtime when he tackled him for a
Yep.
loss and pretty much ended that game in overtime. I think Mason. Hey, we saw offense dominate. As you can see, a lot of these, it's going to be defense that dominates early next year. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
and with him and another defensive Dion Walker, he wasn't on your board. We talk about guys that get off the bus that intimidate people. The guy is 6'6", 348 pounds of
Ooh.
muscle. The man is pure muscle. You see him off the bus, you start, worrying. But yeah, he overpowers offensive tackles like it's nothing. So yeah, next year, folks, it's going to be a defensive draft fest next year. And another
That's the kid from
quarterback,
Ohio State,
Kentucky. So he's
Kentucky.
actually
Okay,
out of
okay,
Kentucky. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah, Ohio State's
Yeah.
got a great defense as well. Coming out, but yeah, with some of those, it just look and I did see the guy number 2 on your board, Travis Hunter. I'm a little
Yeah.
still salty with Mr. 4-1 because remember he was a commit
Oh.
to Florida State and left to
Yeah.
go to Dion when he was in I believe that was FAU when he
Yeah.
decommitted. So I'm still a little salty about that about Travis Hunter. But the kid's got talent, ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did. Yeah, he did go to end up going to Jackson State for a
Yeah,
couple seasons
Jackson
and
State.
going from
That's
there.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he sure did. But FAU. Speaking of FAU, I believe Shador Sanders. That's where he was originally going to land, and then before he went to Jackson State as well. And you see, he's on the draft board here, mock
Yeah.
draft at 6. So he's somewhere in that 4 to 6 range in most of the mock drafts I've seen. I am going to take a closer look this season at Shador, and going to try to see
Love it, love
he
it, love it.
if he can put that uniform on right there, and kind of work his way in. Maybe we can pull a Penix, Junior in Seattle next year.
Well,
And
hey, you, Mister For One, you and Brooks can talk about quarterbacks between, and Brooks be talking about his man Carson Beck out of Georgia. He's highly
absolutely,
sought out of coming out. That should be coming out next year as well. So it's going to be an
yeah,
interesting quarterback class next year. Like I said, not as they might not be as highly drafted as they were this year, just because of the need.
right,
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be totally flipped in my opinion because there's just so many good defensive players that are going to be coming out next year.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
all right, and closing it out for me, just having all those quarterbacks go so early in the draft this year. It's just, I mean, I didn't see that. I didn't see it coming like with that many going like that early. Because we talked about the defensive players that were so highly rated, and man, for that to happen. I'm just gonna go back. I want to look at this down the line and see which teams are able to which quarterbacks panned out for their franchise and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all coming in. When we have these draft shows, we got to get it all in.
Yeah.
Remember, all you have to do is go to YouTube, type in 411 Sports World Network, and then you can watch this as many times as you need to. We're gonna have some shorts come out that's gonna break this episode down as well. Don't forget that we are also on the simulcast on Surge TV. So we appreciate Surge TV for the simulcast. We're out there. We out here, as they say sometimes in the streets. But yeah, Surge TV, we thank you there and for supporting us as well. Calculator, appreciate you. Philly Red Zone,
Yes,
appreciate you as well.
sir.
Yeah,
Likewise.
yeah, absolutely. And Cole for the Low, big ups to Cole for the Low. Make sure you check him out on YouTube as well. Cole from the Low, and you spell Low LOH. And check him out. He's got a lot of good episodes out there, and he loves the sports world. And that young man, he's going places. He's going places. So yeah, check him out as well. All right. Well, for the calculator, for Philly Red Zone, for Cole for the Low, I am Mr. 411. We thank you. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, and share, because sharing is caring.
Caring.
Yes,
There it is. All right, we out of here, gents.
All right. Y'all have a good evening.
bye, everyone.
All right.